News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, the NCAA has agreed to $2.8 billion, B as in boy, settlement so they can pay the college students and kids that went to college, people that went to college, they're adults in college, from 2016 to 2024, from 2016 all the way till now and in the future, will be settlements paid or will be paid now. And I think this is going to completely bastardize college sports. My good friend years ago told me that college sports, he's a big sports guy, I'm not, that college sports was pure. It was pure and undefiled, if you will, when you put it up next to the NFL, NBA, and such. And I believe he was right. And now it's changed everything. And I think this is very, very wrong and very bad. I think all the bad stuff you see with professional athletes, you know, there's a lot of them that get corrupted by all the money and the power and the fame. I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff go on the college level now, worse than it's ever been. And I don't look forward to it, but I'm anticipating horror stories, you know, people crashing in their Corvette going, 150 at 2 a.m, drunk after going to a strip club. Stuff like we saw with Josh Brent when he drove his friend for the practice team and killed him in that DWI crash. And it was the second one. His first one was in college. So it was, I think that's the kind of stuff that we're going to see. Bad stuff. Bad stuff. I don't think this is good at all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think college students should be paid for their participation in a sport? And where does this end? Should the band students be paid? And how about Little League? Is that any different? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Let's go to, you want Mike and Keller first, right? Mike and Keller, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure as always. I think who started this was the boosters were paying the coaches the big money.
Yes,
so
and giving players like cars and stuff and like getting in trouble. Yeah.
Well, they started all this and they've been paying the coaches big money for years, and the guys are out there for free. But now the table is turned, but I do feel that they should share that wealth to finance the other athletes that are not the big names, because we know that it is basically the football and basketball programs that funds the athletic programs. Now, those guys that are not on scholarship, I think that their money should be trickled down to take care of their tuitions and everything else. And for people that say band is not a sport, it's still a talent.
And they put in hours and hours and hours.
Hours and hours of work.
These kids pass out. They pass out in practices, high school and in college. They literally have passed out from dehydration and collapse from exhaustion in the heat, especially in Texas. So so you agree with me? If you're going to pay the college football player and the college basketball player, then you got to pay the college band, college cheerleaders.
Because I'll give you an example. Look at colleges like Grambling, FAMU, Southern, and the way they move with their instruments and stuff like that.
Right.
They just don't walk around and they're very athletic if you ever seen them perform. And that takes a lot of work and precision.
Yes, it sure does, and coordination and tons of practice. So I just think this is going to ruin college sports. I think it's going to corrupt it, don't you?
But it will ruin it, but hey, who started it?
At least you're being honest about it with that. And
who started it? I mean, look what happened with SMU. SMU should have not got the death penalty because they beat Big Brother Texas. That's the reason why they got the
Is that why?
Yeah, that's what happened. The story with Eric Dickerson, the Pony Express. That's the reason why they got the death penalty, because they stole him from Texas, and they turned around and beat them that same year.
Okay.
So that's the story behind that.
And that's not going to matter anymore because now the highest bidder will get the best players. And then, so it's going to be a disaster, I think, with that regard, too. I think it's just going to be because you're going to have the New York Yankees and you're going to have the small market teams again. It's just, this literally is going to be like the new NFL and NBA. Do you see, as I do, the NBA and NFL like trying to stop this or at least boycotting in some way, shape, or form? Because
no, they're not going to boycott nothing. If fans don't show up, that's the boycott. Dollars and cents.
What about the female sports that nobody watches or cares about, truthfully, in most of them?
Well, I mean, the women's sports, it depends on what they are. I mean, women's basketball, they got to get entertained some kind of way. And
well, they ain't going to get paid nothing compared to the, and there's, as you know, and I know, there's maybe, I'm just going to make up a number. You know more than I do probably about sports based on what I'm hearing from you. There's probably about, 5 teams in women's basketball in college that are like really hot. The rest of them are not, right? For the average people.
Right, but just like I said, spread the wealth.
But they are not going to get the same pay as the football players or the basketball players at star teams. Right. And so they're going to complain about that crap. They're going to do the garbage, fake DEI equity stuff and say this is discrimination.
Right, but that's why I said that butter got to get spread evenly across the board. That's what I'm saying.
Watch out. Last question. I think some of our listeners have called in. One of our listeners, Joel, in the last segment said that we should that they should separate the sports from the college and be a business separate from that. Now, I think that makes sense. Actually, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they're already doing that, but they just not saying it.
Yeah. All right, great call. Appreciate it. As always, Mike. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's see, next we have John. Is that right, in Grapevine? John in Grapevine, you're on 820 AM now, and 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, John.
Good evening. I appreciate you taking my call.
Mm-hmm, no problem.
You started an argument between me and my wife. And I decided to get in on this. The gentleman you just got off the phone with, he's right. You should listen to him. The college athletes should be paid. This all started, I knew some of the guys at SMU that caused the death penalty.
Right.
Okay? He's exactly right. Only it wasn't Texas that brought him down. It was Texas A&M.
Okay.
Because Texas A&M had given a Trans Am to Eric Dickerson.
Wow.
Dickerson did not return the Trans Am, and he signed with SMU.
Wow.
Okay? Bottom line is these athletes should be paid, but I think that it should be overseen by either the NFL or the NBA, and you sign a contract. Do away with the college portal. This business of going in, playing 1 year, and then going to another university, you should have to play a minimum of 2 years or 3 years, and they should be paid based on how many stars they have. You're talking to the reason I didn't play college football, I had white boys genetic deficiency, no speed. The bottom line is you pay a kid, if he's got 5 stars, he draws this amount. He's got 4 stars, he draws this amount. He's got 3 stars, he gets this amount. You're not going to have any 1-star or 2-star players playing collegiate football.
Yeah.
It's a big-time business, and it's run for the boosters. Now, I don't think that cities and towns should get stuck with a $65 million stadium like you've got over there in Allen. But if the voters want it, they voted the bond issue.
Yeah, it's their money. Yeah.
They decided to spend it,
right.
And it's none of my business.
And Prosper rejected that, and I was proud of them for doing it. Prosper ISD.
Yep. But the bottom line is, these kids, I don't know if the name Kent Waltrip means anything to you. He got his neck broken playing against Alabama 30-something years ago.
Wow.
And I've known players that got their knees torn up, and they spent matter of fact, my brother just had one of his knees replaced 3 weeks ago. Bottom line is, these kids, they work their ass off to get on that team. It's a business, and they should be paid.
I totally disagree. I got to roll, but I totally disagree. I think it's a college sports, and college sports should not be paid. And if they want to be paid, then take it separate from the university. I am very much against this. I see nothing good coming out of this. All right, we have Stephen in Frisco and Alan Dallas coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Also, we're going to get into, coming up next, we're going to get into Vice President, a brand new person, makes the radar on the New York Times as a top pick for Trump right now that we've not even considered. That's up next, too, on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. NCAA is now going to be paying college athletes so shortly. 2025 is when it starts, apparently, from the reports. But the point is that this is going to totally destroy college sports, in my opinion. Totally destroy it. The purity of college sports is no more. It's really going to go badly, I think, very badly. Thankfully, I don't really follow college sports much, but this is really bad. I can just tell you that from my viewpoint. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think college students should be paid for their participation in a sport? And where does this end? Should the band be paid for the band students be paid? How about Little League? What's the difference here? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's go to Stephen in Frisco. You're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome.
My brother told me about this. He's a referee and umpire out in West Texas Friday Night Lights, and he said that all of the professional sports changed all their rules to protect the high-level paid players, and so this is now going to start taking effect in college once they're starting to get paid, and so all the rules will start changing. So even the little bit of thrill that college sports had is going to start going away, like no more horse-collared tackles, no more going after the quarterback to try to deflect the pass or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all going to change. All those rules are going to start forming more towards like the professionals, where they're protecting the high paid level players. Yeah. And so I totally agree with you. I don't like this. One resolution would be to take the money and put it into scholarships rather than paying the players directly.
Yeah, this is just bad news, and it's going to corrupt the players and corrupt the system. I appreciate your call, Stephen. Great job. Alan Dallas, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, Chris. As far as the band is concerned, if you were at North Texas on a music scholarship, you can cut a CD and keep all the money. My roommate.
Say that again. You said if you were what? A band student? What?
If you were if you were at North Texas on a music scholarship, you can cut a CD and keep all the money. Now, my roommate in college was the.
Wait. You can cut a CD. You said what? Cut a what?
You can cut a record, cut a CD, cut an album.
Okay.
Okay. You can make music and get paid for it. Okay. My roommate in college was the field investigator for the NCAA on the SMU deal. They were just ahead of their time. I'm like you. I'm not a fan of it, but it's happened. Okay. And and for the guy that said 1-star players, I was a 1-star player, and I started 4 years at a D3 college, and I started 4 years in football and 2 years in baseball. I would like to get paid for those years. Now, we did.
Are you serious?
I said
you're sticking your hand out. Why did you do it? You're a sucker. Then why'd you do it for free? Why didn't you stick your hand out and refuse to play until they paid you?
I did get paid. My mom and dad paid me every game. We'd all talk about after the game.
Your mom and dad gave you money? Your mom and dad gave you money for every game you played?
Every game they showed up. Yeah, $20. Not for every game, but after the game they'd give me something. Oh yeah, here's $20. And me and my teammates, we would say, "Oh, my mom and dad gave me $50." But so they're getting paid right now under the table. This would bring it above the table. I'm not a fan of it, but it's out there, and they're getting paid already.
All right, sounds like you.
So now it needs to be policed or something come up with, like maybe you have some sort of contractual obligation that if you get money, you got to stay there.
This is gonna be a new NFL and NBA. I think. I mean, it might be.
I agree.
It's so stupid.
I think it's terrible.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
They're getting paid. They are getting paid. I know. But
what do you mean they are getting paid? They're getting paid. What does that mean? What do you mean? They're getting scholarships? What are you saying that? They're not getting paid just yet. What do you mean they're getting paid? They are getting paid. What does that mean?
Well, they are getting paid now. They're getting paid from donors. When I was playing 50 years ago...
If they're getting paid now from donors, that's illegal, isn't it?
No. No, it's not. Texas Tech gave it, with the new rules, what they had...
The endorsement.
They gave the football team, everybody on the football team got $30,000.
Okay. All right. It's all good. Listen, it sounds... You're kind of striking me weirdly because half of you is like, you're totally right, I totally agree with you, but hey, there might as well... it seems like you're contradicting yourself. That's why I was struggling with you. But I appreciate your call and I appreciate your passion. All right, next, Donald J. Trump, according to the New York Times, has a new favorite for vice president. We've never heard of that person. They also have reports on what they have heard that the Trump campaign may end up, when they may end up announcing his VP pick. This as the race is intensifying and Trump is still leading nicely. All that next in the Chris Crock Show. We also have some news on that. Just because he's leading nicely doesn't mean he's going to win. There's a little bit of a bummer piece that came out today that I'll share with you. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's start with this. Okay, Donald Trump, according to the New York Times, is now at the top of his list for vice president is Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, a buttoned-up former military man. He served in combat. You'd never know it by his demeanor. You know what I mean? It's so gentlemanly and everything, and he's so well-spoken. Trump likes his quote, according to the New York Times. Trump has privately praised Cotton's Ivy League education, his military service, and his strong performances on cable news interviews. And he really does. He is awesome. I haven't heard much of anything I've ever disliked what he said. Now, of course, Arkansas is not going to gain us anything. I think Tom Cotton, here's what Tom Cotton would be. There's no way he could be a presidential candidate. No way. He is perfect like a Pence was before. Don't get into the stuff about him being a traitor. Let's not worry about that right now. I don't want to get into that. Pence was perfect at the time because Pence didn't get in the way. He was stable and he wasn't, wild card like Trump, if you will. Okay? So it was the yin to the yang. And I think Cotton would be the yin to the yang on this. He's extremely well-spoken and extremely kind, genteel, etc. But, okay, so he's at the top of the list now, according to the New York Times. Quote, Tom Cotton has now become one of the leading candidates to become Trump's running mate, according to a report. New York Times cites sources familiar with the former president's thinking who said Cotton has emerged as a top contender in the Veep stakes, alongside other current favorites, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Senator Marco Rubio, Tim Scott, J.D. Vance, and one source says that Trump has not shown a particular preference or given special attention, and he might not make a decision until the Republican National Convention in July. Here's the thing, guys. Producer Garrett, would you Google when the Republican National Convention is in July? Because that's only going to be probably like 7 or 8 weeks away. 6 to 8 weeks away, probably. Just let me know what the date is on that. It's so crazy how quickly everything's coming up. What is that? Oh my gosh. I'm being serious too. July 15th or 18th. Guys, this is like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8.5 weeks away. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't have to do it until then. That's 8.5 weeks from now. That's nothing. That is nothing. But he could be sooner. Who would you want? That's what I'd love for you to tell me. What would you expect? Let me ask you this question. Who do you think Trump would be best to... Who would Trump be the... I can't read my own handwriting here. Who do you think Trump would be the best pick for vice president on the Trump ticket? Which vice presidential candidate would be best on the Trump ticket? Which candidate? And if Trump's convicted in the current trial, this is big. Big. Because I heard something else that is very important. I heard today that this is insane. It hasn't made major reports, but it was in Fox News today, and it blew me away. It was during the Martha McCallum show. You ready? The judge, Juan Merchan, in the trial going on right now that resumes on Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend, he did make an announcement. He's writing up his charging instructions, where he's going to tell the jury what they should and shouldn't think about, what they should and shouldn't consider. One of the things he's going to say reportedly is that he's going to say, according to Fox News, you don't have to have a unanimous verdict to convict Trump. I repeat, this man literally is going to say the judge in the Trump trial, according to Fox News this afternoon, is going to say you do not have to have a unanimous jury to have a conviction for Trump. What in God's name is that? I've never heard of that. And then the question was asked by the Fox News anchor Martha McCallum: Is that on the misdemeanor? Is that what he's saying? Because how could it be on the felony? How could you not have a unanimous jury for a verdict? That's insane. That is beyond insane. So, and we also have a report out from NBC News today that Biden campaign plans to get more aggressive once the Trump trial ends. If Trump's found guilty, they're going to consider whether to brand him as a convicted felon. It's an open question. Also, NBC News says from their sources at the Biden camp, they're weighing whether to amplify that kind of messaging on the airwaves, on ad buy, or both. Oh, he's a convicted felon. With this rigged, pathetic case. Jim Messina, a former top Obama advisor, aide, said the campaign's job on Biden is to remind voters why they already voted Trump out. That soon he could become a convicted criminal, but that doesn't matter as much to the voters as the issues that directly impact their lives. Biden aides say they believe once the trial ends, the reality of a new race is going to be much clearer, and they're going to keep saying, you voted him out last time, don't vote him in this time. What's wrong with you? Well, that brings my other question up. So it's if Trump's convicted in this current New York trial, do you actually think he'll get more votes or less votes as a result of this conviction? So two questions. Why? Who do you think would be best for vice president's pick for Trump? And if Trump's convicted in the current New York trial, do you actually think he'll get more votes or less votes as a result of the conviction? Here's what I fear in that. I fear what they do. They literally have all the media chirping exactly what the Biden campaign wants them to say. Oh, it's a convict. Oh, this is very serious. Oh, it's so serious. And they're going to act like there's not going to be an overturn. The New York State Supreme Court will absolutely overturn it. They overturned Harvey Weinstein's case just because of this exact thing here. The same thing right here. Introducing stuff and prejudicing the jury. They put stuff in, the judge allowed stuff in that never should have been allowed in, that prejudiced the whole case, including previous cases that had nothing to do with it. This judge did the same thing. They're literally doing the exact same stuff that was overturned in the, and they know it'll be overturned. They're just trying to get a conviction in a community that is 95% Democrat, 5% voted for Trump. So that's where they're going with that. So two questions. Who do you think would be the best pick for vice president on the Trump ticket? And if Trump's convicted in the current New York trial, do you think it'll make his chances harder to get reelected or better? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I actually fear that they'll make it harder because the Democrats and the media will say over and over again, he's a convict, he's a convict. Look, he's a dangerous man. He's been convicted of a felony. He's a dangerous man. They're not going to acknowledge the fact that this is a absolute joke and a fake rigged trial. Okay? They won't mention that Justice Department for Joe Biden's Justice Department looked into it, refused to prosecute, saw no crime. The Federal Elections Commission looked into it, didn't prosecute it, saw no crime, didn't even fine him. They did the same kind of a fine on this kind of a case for Hillary because she did violate the FEC. The FEC said Trump did not even a fine for him. That's why the previous DA, Cy Vance in Manhattan, refused to prosecute this. He looked at it. And that's why Alvin Bragg, the current DA, looked at it, refused to prosecute. Then one of his prosecutors left, wrote a book attacking him for it and not prosecuting, and then he came around and said, okay, I'm going to prosecute it now. This is a joke. Everybody knows it, but they're not going to act like that, and Biden's not going to act like that. He's going to take it and grab it onto something because it's all he's got. He's a felon. He's a felon. You don't want to put a felon in there. He's a crook. And they want it to happen just before he goes on in the debate he's set up for next month, and he's going to say, you're a felon, Donald Trump. You're a disgrace. You're a felon. And it's all a lie, but the media's going to take it seriously. Fake news CNN for the debate in in July and June is going to take it seriously. That's what's going to happen, I fear, and I think that will hurt us. All right? Now, I also wanted to add two more things coming up next. We do have some really good news. One of these massive, most biggest, wealthiest companies in the world here in America that is super left and super woke, all DEI. Wait till you hear what their CEO and chairman and co-founder just said about which president he's going to back. It's incredible. Hint, it's probably Trump. I'll tell you all about it. And then New York Governor Kathy Hochul, if you missed it, she has her own basket of deplorables moment. It's really a disgrace what she said. All that next in the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. And speaking of DEI garbage, UCLA, DEI UCLA. Wait till you hear how many of their students that are admitted into the medical school can't pass basic tests, but they're in there for DEI. They check the boxes. Hey, let them operate on you. All right, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is the number. 800-288-9227. Friday night Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-9227. Okay. Blackstone CEO. Blackstone. That's like the great Satan as far as DEI, woke, and all. They're trying to destroy our, what do you call it? Fossil fuels, everything. I think we've banned them if they fund. I think we in Texas have banned companies like Blackstone from having any access to funding and our pensions. Okay, for like our pensions won't go into woke companies like them. In a shock to me personally, Chris Crock, and this made news in Axios today, so this is newsworthy big time. Blackstone CEO Steven Schwarzman backs Trump. Will raise money for him. I'm telling you something. This dude is the chairman and CEO and founder of Blackstone, what's considered by many people on our campus the most wicked, evil company there is, okay? Schwartzman said today that he plans to donate to Trump and other Republican Senate candidates. Why? Because of the Jew hatred in the Democrat Party. Welcome, brother. Welcome, I say. A billionaire and lifelong moderate Republican was one of Trump's most visible business supporters when he was in the White House. But ahead of this year, he called for a new generation of leaders ahead of the GOP primaries. Well, now that Trump's in, he's changed his mind. Quote, the dramatic rise of anti-Semitism has led me to focus on the consequences of the upcoming elections with greater urgency. So he was not going to be a Trump guy, but he changed his mind. I share the concern of most Americans that our economic, immigration, and foreign policies are taking the country in the wrong directions. For these reasons, I plan to vote. I'm planning to vote for change and support Donald Trump as president. In addition, I'll be supporting Republican Senate candidates and other Republicans up and down the ticket. In November 2020, Schwartzman called Trump to move on from his defeat. And he basically kind of seemingly disowned Trump apparently after that. He also said if Jewish people are going to vote for Joe Biden, they have to have their head examined. Oh, I'm sorry, Trump said that this month. Axios says John Gray, Blackstone's heir apparent and COO, their heir apparent to Schwartzman, backs Biden as a big Democrat donor. See, that's what I'm saying. They're all big liberal Democrats. Biden's former ambassador to Israel also joined Blackstone in January, so there you go. Well, good to hear one guy's supporting Trump. Okay, now here's another thing to worry you, and then I'll play you Kathy Hochul's thing, then we'll get into the DEI failures at UCLA in a second. Our number, by the way, is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Okay, this is from the New York Times. There's I'm going to read the headline from my friend Eric Erickson, who comes on the show from time to time. He's a really wonderful blogger. The shaky foundation of Trump's lead, disengaging voters. Here's what New York Times report. Trump's narrow lead is built on gains among voters who aren't paying close attention to politics, who don't follow traditional news, and who don't regularly vote. So that's the problem. The narrow lead is on people who don't pay attention right now closely, and they don't follow traditional news. They don't regularly vote. That's not good. The polls might look good, but it might be a mirage what they're saying for the actual people who show up. In a New York Times CNN polling in the last 8 years, disengaged voters are driving the overall polling results. So they're saying don't count your chickens before they hatch. These people might not be voters. Well, I hope that's wrong, but we have to assume we're not going to win and work so dang hard. Okay, Kathy Hochul had a deplorables moment. Here she is.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader of and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president. We know him better than anyone, and that means we understand what he's all about is just for himself.
Okay, she called the between 10 and 25,000 people that were almost all exclusively minorities. She called them clowns. And almost all of them are Bronx residents, according to Fake News NBC and Fake News MSNBC. So there wasn't people from out of the area. Those clowns are your voters. They used to be Democrats, and they're black, Hispanic, and Asian. And man, are you wrong. Okay, I will have to get to the UCLA DEI stuff next. You're not going to believe the failure rate since they changed this. It's really unbelievable. And they've taken UCLA in the ratings, in the college ratings down, and the law school ratings way down in just 3 years from what they've been doing. It's incredible to watch this. It's very sad.